Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's, and I am here with my co-caster, SethBowdenGaming. How are you, Seth?
Doing good. Ready to see my first cast so far this season. Really excited.
Yeah, glad to have you back at the caster's desk, and we are going to be getting into an unexpected matchup. I don't know what we're going to see today. We're starting things off already with a bit of a curveball, and we'll get into the map choices in just a bit, but we have the Pacifists versus Dead Logic. The Pacifists, we were talking about this offline, are kind of a newly renovated team. They are maybe only 3 of the original team members from Pacifists are still on that team. Everybody else is from VR Wrath or other teams elsewhere, so they've done a bunch of recruiting. And when I was just reading through their bio, it says that Season 8 is where they're trying to come out the gate strong.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely seem like they're coming together this season. I think they only played 3 or 4 games last season, okay. And so now they're wanting to put all their effort into this season. So this will be a good start for them.
Absolutely. And over on, well, no time, Dead Logic. We can't even go into the rosters. Both teams very eager to get into this matchup. We just got to update those team names, and we will be diving right into this match. We'll talk about pick bands in a bit, but they are fresh squads, so maybe just the week 1 jitters here. They have literally given no time. Both squads fully readied up to rock and roll, and yeah, if you can just update that for us, Seth, we'll be
right working. The name should be updated in game, correct?
Nope.
Oh, they are on my side. Stand by.
Make sure you save it.
Yep.
There we
How about
are.
now?
Pacifist on, Marsoc, Dead Logic on, Volk, and already some pre-fire, and Axis Mundi moving up over onto the east side. Dumping out that suppressive fire onto the back defensive building. Whale tucked in. A nade coming in, a long one. It should be good. Does catch the back of Axis Mundi, and that's an insta-kill. No res available.
Give me 1 sec. I'm trying to update the stream, and then I will be back with you.
Tech difficulties being hashed out. We did get a little bit rushed into this round. Unbelievable. They okay though. Take a quick look at Dead Logic's defense setup here for the middle building. 3 on objective, 1 prone by tank, and the other one back in objective building. Has Overwatch over the playground area, and so far Pacifists a little bit nervous to push in and try and get anywhere into into this middle lane at all.
All right, and I am back. Sorry about that.
Excellent. Talking about Pacifists being a bit hesitant here. They've lost 1 on the east, and they sort of just lingering with 350 on the clock. They have enough time to work with, but very similar to very EU playstyle here, taking it slow and steady, making sure that they check all of their angles before trying to push up onto objective.
Of course, Jamie was just holding tight on that upper window, a very prominent place for people to peek out, but no one looked.
Oof, well, catching some shots from the middle lane. Nearly goes down cap somehow. And a tray with BJ. I'm not sure where that even happened.
Yeah, I missed that one too. That must have been a long-range shot. Now, Nolock's actually pushed up. He's actually on the building. He's in the carport right now. It looks like he got through clean through that smoke.
Yeah, Big Mike missed it. But I don't think Nolock's going to be... Ooh, does catch Whale. He wasn't even looking for Mike. I was going to say, I don't think he can see Mike prone there behind the tank, but Mike has no angle here as well, and Nolock with a nice pick. And Dead Logic down to 3.
And Whale, of course, is calling out Nolock. Big Mike is looking for him right now.
Has to go unproned. Now sort of crouched on the corner. Oof. This is definitely not an angle I would be checking. I don't check usually prone on tank. Usually you look for the sort of angles in between the cracks of tank. People will tend to crouch and use those slivers to peek through, but...
Well, and also Jamie seems to have made it around that corner. So he's approaching up through lane 2 because Big Mike wasn't looking at that corner.
Yeah, he's so focused on this carport right now. Ooh, and there's the peek through the crack. Big Mike does find the angle on the Nolock in the carport, and now Pacifist down to 2. Jamie and Dan. They have a decent approach.
Yeah, Dan looks like he's going to be able to make it through that back door without getting any shots on him, but Jamie is just looking for Big Mike. He's waiting for him to come out. The only defense on Dan would be upstairs, and there it is. Jamie takes out Big Mike behind the tank.
That's huge. Whale still has comms from that 2-story, so he should be able to identify Jamie's position here. Neox is looking out that window just for a bit. Dan now does try to find the angle onto Galbers, but Galbers was holding it and denies Dan the kill, and it's all up to Jamie in a 1v2. Definitely not easy to come upstairs here, especially with the new additions to the upstairs. There's some additional cover and also some new boards that block your typical nade tosses that you'd see.
Now, that's actually a great move by Neox because Jamie can actually cap without having to come all the way up the stairs. If he's back behind that table, he could actually get capped on, but because he's moved, he'll now be able to see anything coming up the stairs.
Galbers decides to re-peek that angle. Jamie, they've had a chance. Neox here does spot him, and the one hand coming in from Jamie is not enough as Dead Logic take their first defensive round.
That's actually a pretty good first round. Went through, what was it, 3, only 2 alive for the surviving team?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Nice start to the series as we go down to 28 seconds left on the clock, but ultimately the defensive team holds on and Dead Logic take this first round up. And I guess we can quickly highlight the pick bans of the day. Seth, why don't you break those down for us?
So we started off, of course, we're playing Suburbia Night, and we have Quarantine as one ban map, and that one was banned by the Pacifists, and then Dead Logic, they banned Downfall. So we're going to be sticking to a lot of short-range maps We're going to get rid of the 2 bigger maps.
Mm-hmm. Does seem to be the trend, and I wouldn't be surprised to see. Trying to think what kind of curveball they could throw. I guess cargo and tanker, you don't have any other options. So yeah, Suburbia Knights really the only sort of oddball pick, I guess, they could throw out there. And who was, I believe it's Pacifists home, so this is their map pick as well.
Correct. And another thing that I've noticed so far this season, even though we are in week 1, way more Subway play than last season. Because of all the changes that happened last season, Subway, I think a lot of teams weren't really thrilled about playing with all the new ways to approach the objectives.
Right.
But I wouldn't be shocked to see a Subway pick here.
Yeah, it's so funny because we would never say this like even last season, but I really think we're probably gonna see a Subway tanker as our two maps going into the rest of the series here, because tanker's been a prominent choice in the VRML for season 1. It's been picked 3 or 4 times so far already.
Have we had a 3-night map match yet? That would be
all night.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. We're only just getting started, though. We have plenty of rounds and maps to come ahead as we get into round number 2 of map 1. Dead Logic taking an early knee, and the Pacifists going for a similar defensive setup as Dead Logic. 3 inside that 1 building. They don't have anybody on tank. Instead, they sort of just stay back by objective spawn, or by their spawn building.
Now, Neox had a pretty big push there. He pushed right through the center building, made it to the left side, so he knows there's nobody on that left side so far, or he should know at least. And that is where the majority of Dead Logic are currently pushing.
Also, apparently, just because you're supposed to know these things, it's not Neox, it's Neo. The X is there for style. I didn't know either. I just saw someone say Neo is insane in chat, and that makes a lot more sense to me.
But he has a teammate Neo, just Neo. Because there's 2 of them. Are they both Neo, just one has an X?
There can only be one, right? That's the whole idea. I don't know. We'll get into the semantics of it later. Big Mike here exchanging fire with the 2-story. Trying to take down... I think that's Axel back there.
Yeah, Axis is actually holding a pretty good angle. Well, I was about to say he wasn't exposing himself, and then he walked right in front of the window. But he's holding that left side instead of that right side of the window. It's easier to get picked up on the right side.
Ooh, a long nade. Oh, my goodness, Jamie.
Wow. What a perfect grenade, taking down 3.
I mean, you couldn't have placed it better. Right in the heart of all 3 of them. Neo, though, should be able to come over here, grab Big Mike, and then you kind of get that chain res. But Axis has to be checking his angles here, and it's going to be hard for Big Mike to rotate and grab those reses if Axis is watching Playground.
Actually, it looks like Neo's going to be going around the backside and maybe trying to use... oh, I see. The other Neo is now Cap. Cap, a.k.a. Neo. So there is 2 Neos.
Oh, my goodness. Well, jeez. I guess we'll call him Neox then.
Neox and Neo. Or I guess he's going by Cap now.
Yeah. Gee. All right.
Now we do have Whale. He's actually approaching the garage right now, right on Jamie, and we do get a trade right there on Defender's building.
A bit of exchange of fire here. They are taking shots up onto that 2-story. All 3 of them really threatening here in Playground. And I'm surprised we haven't seen any rotation from the Pacifists 3 defending the objective inside. Very diligently holding their angles in there.
Now it is going to be 4v3 going into the center building, but the Pacifists are actually in pretty solid positions. They should be able to pick up anyone coming up the stairs, and if they miss, they have that teammate right there for the refrag. So they're not all bunched up.
Frame issues right now. Apologies for the viewer. Looks like first-person perspectives are a bit smoother, so we'll try and stick to those for now. Dan just pumping out some rounds. You can see Dan doesn't have night vision. Definitely makes it a lot harder to see through the shrubs and effectively see even a Marsoc approaching you on the outside.
We do have grenades coming out in center building.
But like I said, the new cover options make it a lot harder for those nades to be effective. Nolo did take damage, but he was crouched behind this table, and he didn't die there. So the nade toss up top is just not as good as it used to be. Or you have to find out the better angles. And man, Big Mike's getting so aggressive here. BJ tucks himself into the corner and takes Big Mike down.
He ran right into Big J. And then Big J with a rotation on Neox.
I'm not sure what either one of those guys on Dead Logic were doing. They're sort of they're really desynced from the rest of their team. They needed to move in with Cap and Galbers, but now it's just a 2v3. They had that 4v3 advantage if they had all stormed up at the same time. You know, you can only kill so many people.
Yeah, I would expect it more of a solid push there, but they all got spread out, and then Neo gets killed going back into the Volk building.
Ooh, Galber is able to win the trade onto the corner, so turns it into a 1v2. Has a minute left on the clock and a flashbang. Now this may be the right option, the right nade to be tossing up here. Oh no, is he going for a cap? What was that?
I don't know if maybe he was thinking that he was going to cap at the top of the stairs, but he went way too high. You can actually take just a couple steps up and then just put your hands above your head to cap, but he brought his whole body up, and that didn't work out so well.
An interesting choice on attack there from Dead Logic, and the Pacifists do hold on to their defensive round, tying it up to 1-1. And you know, it's just that I think we're obviously to remind where this is a bronze and silver ranked matchup, and I think that just right there sort of shows is an example of the difference between that and a top tier team like Globochem, where they would send 4 or 5 up that stairs at the same time. The coordination really has to be there, especially for that middle building. Because if you can send your whole team up at once, it makes it so hard to kill everybody. You know, one of your teammates is going to find the picks they need. And the odds is you'll trade 1-to-1. And if they had traded 1-to-1, they would have had one left alive inside that objective building.
Yeah, and talking about the ranks being bronze and silver, there are so many things that come out of these bronze and silver matches that you don't get to see when you're seeing some of the top teams play. Mainly because a lot of the top teams, they kind of have their set plays. They don't want to make certain risks. But there have actually been a lot of top tier strategies that have come out of these matches, and then it just got perfected over time. And now some of the top teams are using them. So it's always interesting to see what kind of the mid-range teams pull out of their hats.
We'll see if we get any glimpse of that action today as we get down into the series. 1-1, all tied up. We'll see how the Pacifists decide to attack.
I'm surprised we haven't seen a shield yet. Both of these teams do have shield carriers, and we haven't seen one pulled out, especially on night. You would see it more often on this map.
Well, yeah, especially since you can go pistol laser sight and get that laser sight advantage, sort of peek the pistol up over the shield and be nailing headshots with it. So it is a surprise not to see that coming out from either one of these Marsoc offenses, but maybe they'll bring it out. Maybe they've forgotten about it, and we'll see it come out later into the series, or later into the map.
Now, Big Mike, once again, he is going to be prone back behind that center tank. Cap is going to be sitting on the bushes. Now, he can actually see through those hedges into the backyard where the Humvee is located, but he also is not behind cover. So if they pre-fire that bush, they can actually tag him as well, so it goes both ways.
Nice nade onto Carport. If anybody was defending there, it definitely would have been effective, but as you had pointed out, everybody's pretty tucked back here. You don't need to be very far you don't need to be pushed too far forward. You do definitely want to have one defender inside middle building at least, where Galbers is, because he has a nice angle onto that backside of tank where they can be capping if they get the right smokes out. So good to have him there, but it's risky only putting one there, honestly. If they manage to send a 2-man squad up into that center house, take control of center building, you really have a lot of control onto the objective, and you can make all sorts of interesting pushes and cap attempts.
Now, if you actually look at Neox's position, he's in a very unique position that you can only do at nighttime on this map. He's back near the Volk spawn on the road by the APC lane 1, and he's really tucked into that bush. Because of the lighting, he is virtually invisible. He's about the same color as that bush, and until they get right up on him, they're not going to be able to see him. He should be able to get a pickup as soon as Jamie or Dan, if they come down lane 1, he should be able to get him.
Smokes are coming in from Pacifists at 4 minutes. And yeah, he is really dark in there. I mean, I wonder how well the night vision would ID Neo here. And Jamie's about to peek around the corner. Neo with a nice, easy kill. And that's one early for Dead Logic.
Yeah, even with night vision, just that spot, he's the same color as those bushes. And so it all kind of blends in. He doesn't pop out like you would expect.
Ooh, Galbraez in a trade with Axis Mundi as he went up the stairs. That was a flash, and both of them were dead.
Now Cap is actually leaving his position. He's going to be walking towards carport, where Nolock is kind of sitting behind a box.
Ooh. Big Mike goes down to BJ, but a quick refrag and a revive from Galbraez onto the 2-story. Very nice. And they should be able to get everybody back up, and the Dead Logic should be looking at a 5v2 here. Pacifists struggling to confirm their kills. And one thing we haven't seen a lot of is any nades from either one of these teams.
Yeah, it looks like they brought a whole bunch of smoke. I don't see a whole lot of utility left for a majority of Marsoc, at least.
I don't even know
now,
if they
Well
brought a lot of smoke. I only saw 2 get tossed out.
Well is making a full flank here. He's going to be able to pick up Nolock in the back, and he's going to flank all the way, looks like all the way through Marsoc spawn area.
Yeah, Dead Logic trying to just choke out the last remaining attackers. I think they have probably a pretty good kill count. So they're feeling confident with 5 alive. Make this push. Dan going prone. I'm looking for Neo over here in the corner. That corner spot is really proving to be quite useful here on Suburbia.
Peeks too far to the right. I think Neox is going to be able to see him, but it looks like he knows Neox is somewhere on that side.
Yep, he did see him just a little bit too late. Neox gets the kill, and Dead Logic, in commanding fashion, take their second defensive round.
So far, all the points going to defense. So we haven't seen a Marsoc point yet.
Yeah, everyone performing on both teams for the most part. Pretty even kill spread across the board. No one player really standing out here on Suburbia Night.
And if you look at the scoreboard, all the kills are pretty evenly spread. No one has more than 3 kills, especially for Marsoc. 3-3-2-2-3 for kills. For Dead Logic, rather. I guess Marsoc. Relative.
And now we've finally gotten... both teams have actually waited a little bit between the round. There's a 1.5-minute timer between rounds, and so it's been kind of a pretty quick-paced series so far. Both teams sort of just hopping in and attacking, but now we've used this whole 1.5-minute timer to maybe have a planned strategy come in from Dead Logic at the very least. We'll see how exactly it shapes out as we get into round number 4 of map 1.
Yeah, it looks like both teams are starting to settle into their game plan a little bit. Getting the... Is this... I don't think this is the first game for the Pacifists. The Pacifists have already played one this season, correct? Or is this their first one? Do you know?
I believe it's both teams' first game of the season.
Okay.
And it also is the first shield of the map. Neo has picked it up.
Quick shots onto Wells' position from Dan in that upper window, center building.
Seems like a little bit of suppressive fire through the bushes just to make sure no one's advancing too far forward early. But it is risky to be peeking, especially in the darkness here if Whale had sort of found the right angle.
Now, they've actually let Big Mike into the center building. He's going to come up and take out BJ at the top of the stairs. Now, does he know if Dan's still in there?
He should have heard the pistol shots. Dan's going to approach hard and the trade. So that's a nice 1 for 2 there. He has taken control of center building for Dead Logic.
Now, Well is going to be pushing up through lane 1. Nolock just sitting there waiting for anyone to come around this corner. Well thinks better of it, backs up a little bit.
Maybe a nade or a smoke out here first before they make that approach around the corner, but how much utility they have left. Jamie over here tucked in between two attackers does find one. Maybe
now I believe Jamie heard Neox as well.
Yeah.
Neox with the shield, but I don't know if he saw him. Neox can actually push out of Jamie's view if he goes quick enough, but Jamie's coming around very fast, and it looks like he has been spotted by Volkhouse.
Ooh, but Neox is here looking. Has the shield facing the right direction. It's going to be hard for Jamie to win the trade, and Neox with the laser sight pistol lands the shots. Nice double tap, and we're into a 2v2.
The shield can definitely be a strong, strong asset at times. Not everyone I'm holding it for whatever reason. It doesn't work for everybody.
It's definitely a bit harder to use now, too, in the most recent patch, as Galbers tries to go up the stairs just a bit too slow, and Axis Mundi manages to find the shots. But yeah, it's a bit harder to use with the recent patch. You can't exactly flick shot anymore. And so I expect to see the pistol laser sight become a bit more prominently used with the shield exclusively, but DL does pick up, or sorry, Neox does pick up a rifle as well.
Now, the good thing about the position of the Pacifists right now is both players can see either side of the tank. So he is going to have to eliminate one in order to get a cap. He still has plenty of time. He still has over 3 minutes. He's doing a full flank. If he can get a pickup here on Nolock, he can actually rush the inner side of the tank, and Axis is going to have to leave the building in order to stop it.
Yeah, he's really exposed too. He's moved out from that corner tucked position where he did have angles onto the APC. Now actually starts to move back right as Neo makes the rotation. What a perfect timing from Nolock. Ooh, that could be a good nade. Oh, if that was a frag, I think that might have caught him.
Yeah, I feel like if he wouldn't have thrown that nade, he might have been able to sneak in there, but now they're onto his plan. But it looks like he might rotate again. Now he might push mid. And if you notice, Nolock can no longer see objective. That may have actually been a great play. If he makes a straight push up the tank, he could be able to get a cap here under both of their noses.
A classic distractory smoke. He has to work with it, though, eventually. That ruse will be shown. No one will be around that corner. I wonder how long Nolock will hold that angle before trying to check objective again.
Yeah, Neox did move very slowly. Looks like Nolock is starting to peek towards the tank. I think he's onto him.
I think Axis may have spotted him out here. Nolock's going to go pad out. Or sorry, Neo's here, pad out. Nolock isn't checking.
Nolock just turned his view as Neox came into range, and there it is. There is the cap. 2 points and map 1 goes to Dead Logic.
The smoke play was huge. The misdirect onto the one defender that had an eye onto objective. He manages to tuck in behind the I mean, wow. How did both of them miss that? Axis was looking almost right at him from the 2-story.
He literally turned, as soon as Neox came into view, he literally turned his head at the exact same time, and so he just walked straight up to the tank uncontested.
The FOV sometimes in VR is so it plays such an incredible influence on these rounds sometimes. And I think that was definitely one of them. You only have 90 to 110 degree field of view, 130 depending on what you're using. And so, it's hard to spot sometimes these things as you're scanning and looking for defenders. And yeah, that's exactly what he just turned his head at the wrong time. Jeez Louise. And we're going to keep to the close quarters theme. You were spot on. We banned those long range maps for a reason. We're going to move on to Cargo as our map number 2.
Of course, Dead Logic is going to be the Marsoc on this side, so they'll be doing the initial push, which may be a good thing. They just picked up 2 points as Marsoc. Now they're coming into map number 2 with a huge advantage and the confidence of already having a cap. So we'll see if this will continue through to map number 2.
One thing to note on Cargo is it's a bit lighter than it used to be in some spaces. At the same time, it's also a bit overall darker. So you can actually use the laser sight pistol with night vision on Cargo again. You couldn't do that before the most recent graphical patch, but you can now. So we may see that come out here on Cargo. That wouldn't surprise me. It's a great strat to be used. I mean, the shield's so hard to deal with on this map.
Yeah, in this map, of course, you also have the tunnels around that western side as well that makes shield use very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do expect to see shield play here out of both squads. It would be the wise choice at the very least. As we get into map number 2 of round 1, Dead Logic. Looking good so far with a nice cap to get them that first map in a dominant fashion, 4-1, not giving Pacifists an opportunity to come back at all. So Pacifists are going to have to rally here in the second map.
All right, quick shots already out through the center of the map.
Axis Mundi pumping rounds down that long lane. And does find Galber is getting a little over aggressive. Neox with the refrag onto Axis on the back corner and trades on the tunnel. Nullock manages to find one. We're into a 2v4 just like that.
Yeah, quick push to the center. BJ had great shots just then, as well as Nullock. They were able to pick up those quick pushes. But we do still have 2 members available on the eastern side. You got Neox and Well who are going to be pushing up. They're looking for anyone possibly flanking behind them.
Definitely a little bit concerned after losing that whole side over there. And it's completely stopped their push on this side, at least. And it's going to be real hard for them to... I guess not really. They don't have anybody covering this long, exposed lane. But it's going to be risky to cross this lane. Does get over, and now they're going to shift their focus to the tunnel.
Yeah, looks like we're going to get a full rotation here, and they might push up that left side. So they decide to take a moment here and regroup, re-strategize, figure out what are they going to do to break this 4-man line.
All we need to do is I've still got my grenade. I can grenade over west side. You just hold there. Hold by these black boxes on west side. Yeah. I'm going to try and clear out.
I'll try and get a grenade back there. I'll slowly push up the side. Yeah, if you want to take...
I'll sit by black boxes. I'll move up and you move up with me in synchronization. You watch my right and I watch across right.
See how their impromptu plan hashes out as the Pacifists are tucked in to their defensive positions. Nullock prone. BJ has opportunities to peek that real tight sliver in the crate door. And then Nade, ooh, that's a decent toss into the back corner, almost on top of Nullock, but not quite close enough.
Just a little bit too far. C4 goes off. Lots of explosion.
BJ isn't checking that sliver in the doorway, so...
Another grenade. It just missed Nullock again. It hit the corner of the building.
This is an interesting angle Nullock's holding here, too. He's sort of almost protected from that by having that roof, by having the corners there. It has saved his life once already as Jamie catches Neo trying to make his move. Whale gets BJ, and Nullock's going to be honed in here. My goodness.
Well, putting some great shots. But he's got to get past Nolok, who's sitting there waiting.
Oh, the pre-fire from Nolok doesn't pay off. He heard the footsteps and sprinting from Whale and tried to pre-fire that angle, but 250 left. Whale drops back to his side of the map and tries to relocate again into a 1v2.
Now, Dan, of course, is in a great position, very common position back behind these barrels. Even though people tend to expect you to be there, it's just so hard to deal with it if you don't have a frag grenade. That is just such a strong position. But Whale is looking for it.
Yeah, it's a pretty common spot, so he should be keyed into that. I just wonder if he's going to approach it from the proper angle and also avoid Nolok there to his left.
Yeah, based on the position, capping is pretty much out of the question here. He's going to have to eliminate both of them unless they do some sort of rotation.
Shots to his back, and those distract him just a bit as he tries to get away from him. Nolok takes the shots to the front, and the Pacifists take the lead 1-0.
Again, back doing the back and forth here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a good series. It's just that cap, shooting him up from a 2-1 lead to a 4-1 victory, is exactly what they needed. Just perfect timing for them. I hope it was clipped too, because that was really just a great redirect from Neo on Suburbia to get them that map win.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the strength in capping in this game. The fact that it gives you the 2 points. You can turn a 1-3 that you're being dominated on. All of a sudden a cap comes in, and now it's tied up 3-3, and you're going for the map. So it's very powerful if you have somebody who has the ability to sneak in there and get the cap in. It's a really unique skill to have as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's something that I know a lot of teams practice. They'll practice punching in codes quickly on their pads. It's definitely a bit of an art at this point, but
absolutely. And there's even strategies as to how to pull out the tablet. For instance, there have been people who, myself included, have shaky hands. I used to never cap because of my shaky hands. So now I've learned how to manipulate the tablet by locking it into my stock when I pull it out. And so that steadies my hand so I can type in the code faster. So there's a lot of skill to it. It's a little bit different than pulling the trigger because you're having to hold it steady with a laser pointer. It's just a lot different.
We got to keep you away from the index because that sucker's going to really be shaking when you're trying to enter in a pack.
Yeah, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole right now.
The nerds are definitely a big element of the VRML, of any competitive esport league, but they are, I think, amplified in VR just because it's so much more real. And I absolutely do agree with you. It's a huge factor for a lot of players, and it does prevent people from being effective at doing one of the most important things in the game. A great smoke there from Neo, though, does let him cross the street into a real forward position. Catches out Jamie, too, and a nice start for Dead Logic.
Yeah, and he may even press this even further and try and get all the way into their backline. No, he doesn't. He actually tucks behind this wall. He pulls out a grenade. And it is going to be too high. It looks like I did a little damage to BJ, but that's about it.
Ooh, Axis does catch Neo out. Meanwhile, Whale is approaching. These guys are getting so aggressive. He may find the backside of Nolok here if he keeps moving and checks his left. Oh my gosh.
He didn't even check. He walked right past Nolok. Nolok heard the steps.
Wow, he walks right past it. Always check your corners. Check all the angles.
That was an easy pickup there, too.
He could have even knifed him.
Kicking himself when he sees that. Yeah, absolutely.
He could have knifed him, stayed completely silent, and been on the backside of this whole offense.
Do have a smoke. It's not going to have a whole lot of utility there because it landed on top of the roof, but it is going to distract from sound at least, give a little bit of smoke on that side.
Tell what he wanted to do. I think he wanted to put it just between the crate and the shed there, building, and almost there, pretty freaking close. As BJ team kills Nolok, and that is not what the Pacifists needed right now when they had that 4-3 advantage.
Absolutely not. They had the numbers now. It is all even, but Dead Logic, they are just tucked into their positions right now. I don't think you're going to see much more movement out of them.
That's the smoke they wanted. That's a really nicely placed smoke. Will it be effective is the question. Axis here does find Cap between the door. I mean, wow, what a slice to get a pick on, and makes the push up, catches Galber's Axis on a tear here. Will he find that third defender over in the corner, Big Mike?
And just like that, completely turned around where Dead Logic had the advantage, and now they're on their back foot.
Ooh, Big Mike detonates the C4, gets one, but Axis with the triple, and the round win. Pacifists, they want this second map. They're up 2-0.
Absolutely. Pacifists have come out of the chute guns a-blazing here on map number 2 with a quick 2 points.
It's just
3 points, rather.
It's just interesting because Suburbia was their map choice. This is Dead Logic's map choice. We're just getting a bit of a switcheroo here on on who's winning what maps.
And correction, it is 2 points.
Oh, did I say 1 point?
No. I said 3. It was.
Oh, okay.
I can't read the scoreboard in front of my eye. Now, you were talking last round about how things are just different in VR, like with capping and things like that. I also want to point out when Dead Logic decided to regroup and discuss strategy, that's a very different aspect than the typical 2D shooter where you're just in Discord and you're just yelling at each other. I mean, here you actually have to get in the vicinity of your teammate. I mean, they were in the same building discussing and pointing and being able. That's just a totally different atmosphere for esports than what I feel a lot of esport players are used to.
You think about the play that required too. They had to drop back and tuck into the same building, and so in normal cases where you can just sort of both from opposite sides of the map strategize, I guess they could have radioed in, you know what I mean? But they wanted to make sure their comms were just between the two of them, and yeah, it's definitely a unique element of VR that you just don't get in other esports scenes, and there's a lot of that. I mean, from capping to the comms to just shooting your gun. I mean, you talk about your nerves playing an effect. It affects how good your aim is too.
Absolutely. And here we are. We're coming into round number 3, and you have a shield again. Neox has pulled it out for a second time. Worked well for him the first time.
And you will see the night vision laser sight pistol from him as well. A viable tool to be used on this map now.
Now he is going to hard push straight through the tunnel. They're going to see him pretty quick, but that shield is going to stop those bullets.
He almost got that hit too.
We have a grenade out. It's a little bit short, maybe.
Here comes the counter nade, a little bit long. Just missing on these nades here. And we are seeing more frags versus Suburbia. And look at this long C4 toss.
That was an excellent C4 right there. You don't see it used in that way very often, but that was incredible. It reminds me of the Call of Duty days.
Jamie with the C4 midair burst. Gets the shield user and the confirm. Doesn't go around to pick up the shield, though, so it is going to be able to be utilized by his teammates if Cap, for example, can push up and grab it.
No Lock is, of course, holding that same position as last time. Just dodged a grenade because he's tucked back just a little bit.
Nexus Mundi catching Big Mike, getting aggressive in the middle of the map, but Whale has sort of got himself into a nice advantageous position. I just don't. If he had some utility, he could dump it right onto Nolock, but I don't think he does, as Nolock finds another. Cap goes down, and now it's a 2v5. Pacifists looking so good on cargo right now.
And just like that, we're down 1v5.
Axis is on fire right now. We're going to have to take a look at the KDs at the end of this round as well.
Now, one thing that's interesting, if he actually caps Axis and they don't have a rotation, he can actually cap on the right side, but he's going to run left.
Interesting. I wonder if they would have rotated fast off of that. You know what I mean? I wonder if BJ would have gotten up from his position and peeked the corner on objective, and if Whale had just gone quietly, like you said, up to objective. I wonder if there was a cap opportunity there.
I think after the shots went out, somebody would have had to have rotated there with all 4 of them up. But if not, if they all just held those angles they were at, there was an opening. But unfortunately, got a little too antsy and rushed out of that open.
Either way, Pacifists up 3-0, and you take a look at the KDs. Axis Mundi 7-2. He's pushing for triple digits here if he can get a couple of kills in this next round.
Absolutely, coming in strong here on map number 2 for sure. Pacifists, all they need right here is just one more point, and they're gonna make this a interesting third map.
Yeah. Subway would be real interesting for a third map between both these teams. The way it's been going, you know, it's more of an open map in comparison to Cargo or Suburbia, especially since we have all those new entry points. So I wonder how these squads would handle it, or if they'd even pick it. Really, what are the other options available? Tanker.
I mean, yeah, you have.
Right.
I don't know if. I mean, there are options definitely. I personally think they're going to stick with small maps. It seems like both teams were not wanting the bigger maps, which Bazaar's kind of. It's a little tricky. It's a large map, but it's a lot of really confined fighting within a large map, if that makes sense at all. Just because there's so many buildings and so many strong points to be posted up in. But I would expect them to do something like you said, something like Tanker.
We're not quite there yet. Still in map number 2, round number 4, as the Pacifists look to take this to map number 3 for the series decider. What a great way to answer back, though, after losing 4-1 on that first map to then come here and get 3-0 right now. You couldn't have asked for a better answer back. And look at these great defensive smokes. Galvarez perfectly smoking that doorway as he goes in for the to tuck in there.
We also have a C4 placed in between green and white crate in the center of the defensive formation. So that's going to see if that comes into play at all.
Oh, Whale on the rotation nearly gets caught out and catches Nullock actually with the nade that he tossed as he was rotating.
And BJ picks up and finishes well. They're going to be able to get the revive here on Nolog. Jamie comes in for the revive.
Wow. They're looking good. 5v4 now, the perfect advantage. That C4 is a major threat, though.
And it looks like they're starting to converge on that area a little bit. I don't know who has the trigger.
Hopefully not Neo as he goes down. Nullock identifying him, trying to stay stealthy and tucked into that black bar of that objective building, but goes down. Dan finds one, and Cap able to catch out Jamie. The push coming in. Nice shots from Dan catching out Jamie. And he's on the backside of objective, and that Pacifists kill everyone. They don't even need the Cap, although they had an opportunity as they take map number 2.
What a great turnaround for the Pacifists, coming from a 1-4 deficit on map 1 and here turning it around to a sweep on map number 2, which was picked by Dead Logic.
Wow.
So that's actually kind of crazy.
You couldn't have asked for a better comeback, because now they're going into their map pick for the series decider. Ideally, they'll play this a little bit better than they did their map pick on Suburbia. But I'm fully ready for a 3-3 finale here on this final map.
Yeah, I would like to point out that also Axis Mundi with 8 kills that round. There it is.
Wow.
We're going 3 night maps in a row. It looks like we're going to get Subway.
You can, I guess Subway is a night map.
Night all the time.
It's a half night map.
When you're outside, at least.
Yeah. But yeah, this should be interesting. This is the first Subway of the season, to my knowledge. At least the first Subway I've watched of the season. I'm excited to see if there's any new strats getting pulled out from either one of these teams. And to the note of these teams being bronze and silver, I think just one thing is that just because that's their rank, it doesn't mean these players haven't put in a lot of hours. You know, I think that there's a couple of players on the Pacifists that, although they are new to the team, they're not new to the league. and the same goes for Dead Logic. So both these squads have a lot of experience in coordinating. I think that's obviously evident with their team coordination on that last round when they dropped back to reevaluate their strategy. A team that doesn't play often, that doesn't practice, doesn't do that.
Absolutely, and like what you're saying about being new teams, a lot of these are just restructured teams as well. Throughout the league, you'll notice that there's a bunch of teams that, yes, they might be a lower rank, but it's just because they haven't been together as a unit for a very long time. But sometimes it's some of the better players from multiple teams coming through to make a new squad, basically. So they might have a lower rank than maybe what their skill level will end up being by the end of it.
Should be diving into Subway for the third map any minute here. All the rosters readied up. And just to break down rosters quick, since we haven't yet today, on the Pacifist is Jamie, Nalok, BJOC, Dan, and Axis Mundi. And over on Dead Logic, we have Cap, Galbers, Big Mike, Whale, and Neo. No subs coming in for either one as we hop into the third and final map, the series decider, map number 3 on Subway, round 1.
Also want to point out that this has been going very fast. We're only 50 minutes in and we're already on map number 3. So that's pretty quick for these league maps.
Man, yeah, we are on a record pace almost, I would think. Can't remember the last time we've gone through 2 maps in under an hour. But it's I mean the scores warrant that speed, right? 4-1 on that with a cap on Suburbia and 4-0 on Cargo, and so maybe we'll get these rounds drawn out a little bit here. But we also had some lengthy rounds down to 28 seconds, so I don't know what to think.
Now we do have the downstairs objective here. This is, of course, probably the easiest one to defend, but it's not impenetrable by any means. There's still multiple access points, especially with the new tunnel that you're available to come from underneath on the far side from objective. Without, of course, Neox is holding right now. That definitely adds an advantage for being able to get down here.
It's really interesting too because they didn't opt to use any of the new entry points, just that one up at the top. They've instead decided to take the 2 north and south stair routes where Galbers is here posted up waiting. And I wonder if this approach will be effective because maybe they are focused on covering the newer routes versus the old. It could work. We'll see. Going to be a little bit of time though as they're taking it nice and easy on these corners, and it is a downstairs objective, so a couple of those defenders are on another 3 of them are on that downstairs subway floor.
Galvers is actually in a great position. He might be able to see Nolock here pretty quick. Oh. No, he turns his back, and Nolock gets the vision through the rails and is able to take out Galvers.
Real nice pick there. I mean, a huge pick, honestly. Opens up this lane for Dan and him to push up. And if they don't even need to get that pick on the backside on Cap as he gets Axis Mundi out, they can instead come down these stairs and be a threat onto the objective pretty quickly.
And we are down to a 4v4. The only remaining member of Volk upstairs is going to be Neo, and of course he's sitting in that subway looking for anybody to come up top and try and go down the main staircases.
Cap, the only remaining defender on the upstairs level.
Yeah, I think I called him Neo again, but it's definitely Cap. Gotta love name changing.
Yeah. I think he has to drop the AKA. You can only have one name in the league.
At least they didn't change their whole team name like we've seen happen a couple times this past week.
That's true. The DLs at the front of the name even throw me off sometimes. You're just waiting, though. Jamie on that north corner, sort of too afraid to move out after Cap took those shots, and we have this incredibly slow-moving rotation on the south.
I don't even know if Nolock has stood up this round. I think he started in spawn laying down, and he has crawled all the way across the subway.
I don't know why he's going this way, though, because the stairs down to the objective that he needs to go to aren't over here. I don't even think there's a new set of stairs in the back here that'll take him down.
No, there's not. He's clearly looking for somebody who's upstairs trying to make... Or maybe he's just getting in position for one of his teammates to go down and then maybe get a refrag if there is somebody up here.
I was worried that he would shoot the back of BJ here, as BJ had slowly inched his way from spawn all the way up to through one of the new entry points. But he doesn't, and now they have control of that back stairway. Jamie's coming up here too. There's so many opportunities for team kills. They just have to make sure they're communicating. Okay, good. No team kills coming out.
Ooh. I was nervous on that one as well.
Yeah, it was really the recipe for disaster there. But the communication and the game knowledge on point. They're just hunting for Cap right now. That's why they're so on edge, because they know Cap's somewhere over here.
Cap's in a great position. Of course, he hears them walking as well, so he's just holding at this point.
What angles can he get, though? I mean, does Cap see... Ooh, might catch out. Dan crossing, goes prone, and does catch Dan out, and now that's going to redirect Jamie and BJ as they had smoked out the stair. When we're going to make their approach, they now are stopped from doing that.
And now you have two people at the bottom of the stairs waiting for Jamie and BJ. You got Cap at the top of the stairs, who's going to be able to close in behind them. No Lock now joins them.
Ooh, Whale through the smoke catches one. Jamie with the refrag. On the backside, you have Big Mike, who catches out Jamie as he tries to make his approach towards objective. And now it's a 1v3. Cap with another kill in the trade between Nolock. Gets Dead Logic up 1-0. And look at that. I mean, what's the time? 34 seconds, 2 left alive. Real close.
Yeah, they definitely held that one out just a little bit. They heard us talking about how quick it's going.
Uh-huh. They're listening in.
And just like that, that is Dead Logic's first point since map 1. So looks like they're back into the groove of things. I hope this is a really tight last...
Good start. That's for sure. For this final map, and curious to see how the Pacifists defend this one. A lot of varying ways you can defend, and obviously a lot of ways to attack, so I'm interested to see if Dead Logic opt for any of those new entry points into the downstairs, into that subway where the objective is. It used to be, that subway objective used to be a guaranteed win if you were defending.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And by adding some of the new attack positions, the new approaches, it really has totally changed this map. It's virtually a completely different map than 2C. Just by adding 1 or 2 different ways to come in, it adds so much more variety as to angles that need to be defended, ways that they can approach. But like you said, they kind of went through the old school routes. Mm-hmm. There wasn't much of the new avenues taken.
There's so many entry points, and that's kind of the problem with this map. I think a lot of the teams have in the league is that it's almost too many now. You know, you can't effectively post up and have a strong defensive plan. You have to be almost rotating your vision and checking multiple angles, making sure your communication has to be really on point. If you lose one in a basement defensive position, you have to make sure you're rotating.
Absolutely. You definitely have to have the tablets out. Like you said, it's a semi-night map, so sometimes it gets tricky as to when to use night vision, when to turn it off, because sometimes it's too bright, sometimes it's too dim.
Especially
so
in that basement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here we have the majority of new entryways being used. Big Mike's going to go up to that center one, and he actually may run into some action pretty quick up here. No, it doesn't look like the defender has opted to go up the stairs. Up into the rest of the offense. Dan. There it is. Neo.
Also,
shield out.
Go ahead. Galvers is going to be approaching from the north stairs, kind of taking that old route as well.
Just thinking about it at the very least, it almost seems like he's just making sure they're not going to get flanked here. It would be a real aggressive move from the Pacifists, but does start to make his way down those stairs. Check over on the basement crew as Cap. And my name bugged out. I think that's Neo.
Big Mike and Axis Mundi are right on top of each other. They have not peeked. And Axis peeks out and gets tagged by Big Mike. They were staring at each other for the longest time, about 3 meters from each other, and neither one peeked around that air conditioning unit, power unit, maybe?
Meanwhile, in the basement of the map, you have this 2-man approach onto Dan on the corner. I wonder if there's any C4 deployed anywhere here.
That's what I was looking for. I don't see any. Oh, actually, it is. It's right there above the door.
That's going to kill Dan, though.
It is. Usually you see it right above the door, and then he would be back around the corner.
And to the points we're making, pad out here. He's just staring at his pad, listening. Hand on that C4. Maybe he'll be safe from the door there. It does look like it's a practice position at the very least. I think that doorway should actually block the explosion.
Big Mike just killed himself with a grenade. I wasn't watching. I don't know what happened, but he just took himself out.
Ooh, and that is a real interesting play. He's sitting there looking at the underneath of that doorway, goes for the confirm kill and gets picked up himself, but the C4 does pay off on a kill onto the shield user. And I love that. That's a great little spot right there. As you said, some of these, you get real innovative spots out of the mid-tier teams sometimes because they're trying to find new ways to kill these consistently good players, and that's definitely a great play there that pays off. Galber is able to catch out Jamie up top and Dead Logic into a 3v2.
Absolutely, and on that downstairs play, you could tell he's done that once or twice because like you said, I figured that it would kill him as well, but he knew exactly where to place that to not frag himself. Galbers has made it down the north stairs. I believe he actually put shots onto Whale, but now he's waving. He sees that it is a teammate. And with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, it looks like we're going to be attacking from 3 different points, both staircases and then one underneath. So this is what you're talking about, having multiple angles. If they converge all at the same time, it's going to be really hard for the last 2 pacifists to defend this.
No lock. Okay, holding down here. We'll see. Ooh, a nice nade toss. A fantastic nade. Catches out Nolak, and now it's a 3v1. The peek here onto the corner does get Galbers, and can he get 2 more?
He needs to go for that revive, but I do not think he has time. He's going to have to take out these last 2 guys on his own. He turns his back on Whale.
And that is the death of him. Dead Logic grabbing themselves a Marsoc round as they go up 2-0. And I wonder if we're going to have another 4-0 blowout here.
The back and forth right now is pretty. Usually you see the back and forth within a map, but this is a back and forth
of
it
maps.
Seems like one map's going exactly. And if I'm not mistaken, again, this was the pacifist choice, and Dead Logic is the one that's picking up the points currently. Overall, the score is only 5-6 though, with Dead Logic up by 1. So it
a close
definitely
series.
unique. You don't see this option. You don't see this often.
Just need to see pacifists refocusing here. Overall, you know, you take a look at the KDs and you have 4s and 2s on Dead Logic and 1s and 0s on pacifists. So they just need to find a couple more early picks, I think, to get themselves into an advantageous position. And they're on the offense. They need to use some of these new entry points like Dead Logic did, stay spread out. Because I think, which is almost counterintuitive to what you would see. You know, usually you want to stay at 3-2 clusters or kind of stay grouped up so that your coordination can be on point. But I think the real power of this map is to enter from all different sorts of angles.
Absolutely, and either that or send everybody through one.
Yeah.
Either one of those options seems to be pretty strong. Because, like you said, you can only defend so many. So if there's 4 entry points, you have to have at least one person on each.
See what pacifists decide to break out here. We're going to go into a middle of the subway objective. And yeah, there's a couple of new entry points here that Dead Logic are going to have to cover. This one being the main one. Basically a pop-up from the basement right at objective.
Absolutely, and you've been seeing this one get utilized more and more as teams play this map, but it looks like only Jamie is going to be making that approach.
And Cap's going to toss some C4 there as well. Pretty standard stuff. And then this is something that we're seeing. I don't know. Is this like a new... I've never seen this before, but everybody's peeking on the underside of this doorway, waiting to see the foot, you know, the change in color as the foot comes out here. They don't need to hear it. They can see it, and then they detonate the C4.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that all the teams have started doing. For the longest time, I would sit back and wait for them to turn that corner. But like you said, you can see just barely underneath. You're seeing that more and more of people using all the advantages they can possibly get.
Okay, one at south stairs. There's another one at south stairs.
Galbers does get one, so a nice early pickup from Dead Logic, putting Pacifists into a 5v4. Axis Mundi able to refrag onto Whale. I actually don't know if it was... I think it was Axis Mundi that got that kill.
Now you do have 2 members of the Pacifists that have made it down to the main level. Not much eyes on that side. Neox up in the catwalk running back and forth, but he just left that side. They're going to be able to get a little bit of a press here.
Yeah, this is dangerous to lose this much control on the south side. Or sorry, excuse me, the north side is not good.
Now he does have his back to Neox, and Neox abandons again. He's just not quite seeing that angle, and Axis Mundi is out in the middle of the walkway with no one looking at him. Now Neox, I believe he sees him.
Yep.
Yes, he does, and he's able to pick him up.
Finally peeked again. Caught him out. Unfortunately, Nalok wasn't advancing with him. The right thing to do there would have had that 2-man squad push up at the same time. Nalok covers his left, and Axis could have looked forward. Kind of a standard, I don't know, like something you would consider to be a standard military strategy. What do I know? I'm just a regular old gamer, but... Cover all your angles as you approach. Use your teamwork to your advantage.
Now, I expected Jamie to come up behind the objective, but he didn't. He opted to keep staying down low and come all the way from underneath, so he's slowly making that approach now, quietly as possible.
Another entry point that they can
yet
make.
another.
They have to cover. Galbrez is there, though. It's almost like that is what he's covering. He's watching both stairs, and the nice thing here is he can actually... It's just that one stairwell, but he can actually hear footsteps underneath him, so... If Jamie were to be running and try to charge up these stairs, Galbrez would get a little advanced notification, but he's dropping back now from that position. Where's the rest of Dead Logic? Pretty far away from OBJ.
Yeah, Dan and Jamie are now slowly closing in on Galbers. I believe Jamie heard him talking, and he's able to pick up the shots in the back.
Cap is so tunnel visioned on that door that he has not checked his backside after those shots come out. Even after the smoke is here, he still hasn't rotated.
Now, Big Mike is in a decent position if anything approaches from the right side, but if they cap behind the Coke machine, if they're able to take out Cap and get behind that Coke machine, it's basically a free cap. I said Cap way too many times. Again, he changed his name.
I think that was 4 caps in one sentence. Jamie beginning his little push here. They need more utility here. They need more smokes. If Jamie could put 2 smokes on objective, he could completely deny vision from that long angle onto OBJ. And I actually think he can cap right behind this map right here, can he?
I think he might have to peek around the side, but it doesn't look like
he's punching in the code right here.
Yeah, Big Mike's not even looking there, and he actually has an angle on that, but he's not peeking out enough.
Pacifists get it. Enter it in. That was a real quick cap, too, and we're tied up 2-2.
Wow, what a turnaround. I thought Mike surely had the position there, but he was just looking. He was focused too much trying to look in the tunnel that was already being guarded by his teammate, and he's let him walk right up that right side.
I think he had this angle right here. He was just trying to make sure that he was covered from the right and also staying prone. Watching that smoke was huge. Completely distracted Big Mike here, and he just didn't peek around a sliver. That FOV maybe even being a factor. You know, he just didn't see it out of the corner of his eye, and a nice cap puts Pacifist into 2-2 tie.
Absolutely, like we were saying, how big caps can play in coming back when you're down. I mean, we're all tied up again. 2 points left.
Definitely not a blowout for the third map.
At all.
Maybe we're going to be pushing more to that 3-3 prediction I had earlier. If I just throw out a bunch of different predictions, one of them will stick, right? That's how it works?
Absolutely. That's all. That's what you're supposed to do, right? That's what I've been. Number one way to break Caster's curse. Vote on both sides.
Wow. This guy is thinking 10 steps ahead, people. Tell that to Buxton, man. Jeez.
I don't think it's Caster's curse. I think it's a Buxton curse. I think that's what it is.
We'll see if there's any sort of curse out there in the night as we get into round number 5 of map number 3. It is a barn burner of a series so far. Map 1 going 4-1 to the hands of Dead Logic. Map 2 4-0 in the hands of Pacifists. And now we're all tied up 2-2 on Subway as Dead Logic go on the offensive.
And it looks like Dead Logic are going to opt to use the new entrance up top coming in through the catwalk. Neox is pushing down very fast, and no one's guarding his exit point either, so he's going to be able to make quite a bit of ground here.
Yeah, and if you take control of this back stairway, especially on this objective, you have some great angles onto a lot of defenders. If Axis goes down, the Pacifist defense is in a lot of trouble.
Now, Axis Mundi is repeatedly peeking and making sure no one's coming in behind them, but it's kind of a long distance. A lot can happen very quickly, but that grenade is going to give away Neox's position with a follow-up flash.
Yep, tries to peek hard off that flash, but it's not quite enough as Axis diligent onto that corner and that entry point gets the kill, and now we're into a 4v5 in the favor of Pacifists. Do have one capped there on that bottom basement entry point. Subway entry point. I don't know. Subway?
the subway basement. And here comes Cap. He's going to be coming up the stairs looking right at objective. Of course, Dan's not going to be able to see him because he's watching anything under that doorway, as we were saying earlier.
And another push up onto this stairway in the back. Flash coming out. Axis Mundi trained in here looking for any additional picks. And they checked both sides, but I don't think he checked far enough. He didn't check around that Coke machine. There's another pick for Axis. Can he get a third here?
Got my eyes trained on Cap right now. It looks like he's just trying to figure out the best route because there's not a whole lot of people that can see him. Even though they're all around him, they're all facing opposite directions. But looks like he's going to move into No-Lock's line of sight here. Dan still with his back turned. He's not going to be able to see anything.
What is Cap
Jake's too far
trying to
on the
do here? Oh my
He picks up no lock. He can get the cap. He sees him. He takes him out. Now will we get a response from Dan? Dan pulls out his tablet.
Axis Mundi has come out. Peeked out from the stairway position. Might have his back exposed here. Oh, he's in a battle between Whale, who's got control of the stairway on this side, on the other, where he was getting those kills earlier. Ooh, and the trade, the suppression from Axis Mundi and the quick peek from Whale ends up into a 1v1. Back on board Dan, who's dangerously close to objective. Or sorry, Cap, not Dan. Three-letter names.
Dan is actually doing a decent job. He has his tablet out. He's peeking back and forth, but now he's back focused primarily on that door. He doesn't even have a gun out. He has a C4 out. If Cap can just make this cross when Dan's not looking.
Who else? Where are the other angles? Oh, Jamie has the angle over onto that subway and catches out Cap trying to push up. He was going to actually try and nade Dan.
What a great long shot by Jamie. I didn't think he'd be able to see that angle. That was very close to Dead Logic being in position there.
Yeah.
And with that, it's now 1v3.
See what exactly Big Mike can muster up over here. I mean, honestly, he's at the right spot. If he can, if he knows Jamie's there and can get the kill on Jamie, I think his position here is better than.
I just think from here it's going to be almost an impossible shot on Jamie because Jamie is black in the dark room. All you can see is the tip of his head, but he's going to be completely exposed. This is going to be a very hard approach.
Yeah.
But like you said, if for some reason Jamie misses it or anything like that, he has to make a decision soon, though, because we are down to the last 60 seconds. Now, he is crawling this time. That is going to make it a lot harder to be seen.
Oh, Jamie's trained in here, though. Should.
We're down to 30.
Yeah, he's looking right at him. Does spot him out and takes down Big Mike. Pacifists go up 3-2. That was close.
That was very close.
Not sure why it took him so long to shoot.
I don't know if maybe he was struck because it did look like he was using his teammate's down body as a little bit of a shield.
That was also was my second thought there, is that maybe that's was throwing him off.
I don't know if maybe he was scared he would shoot and only hit the down body, or if he wasn't 100% sure that that was a live person he was looking at either. It took him a second for that decision.
Oh, wow. I guess we're going to an interesting objective, the north objective. It used to be real volatile. I still think it has the potential to be, but the spawns now give Volk a lot more room to work with in terms of how far they can push up and what angles they can defend.
Yeah, you used to have to push all the way from the back room
And just
down
fight
this
on
empty
objective.
hallway. Yeah, and the timing was you would hit the bottom of the stairs at the same time Marsoc hit the top of the stairs, which, let's be honest, it was a lot of fun. But in a comp setting, it was definitely not ideal.
There's a lot of things about this map that were not fun that have been revamped and definitely made it a lot nicer. One thing is for sure, there's a missing cat with 3 legs. Somewhere out there. Have you seen it?
I haven't.
Well, call that number if you do. Could be the series decider. Map number 3, round number 6.
Yeah, I do still think that this objective is a little bit more towards Marsoc. They have a little bit of an advantage because to defend, you kind of have to be a little bit in the open. So this would be the one that Pacifists want to put the nail in the coffin right here and finish it.
See if Mike can do any work here, and if the Pacifists are going to be ready for this. They are peeking the corner, and Dan goes down to Big Mike. Can Nalok find the refrag?
Now, they also sent 2 Dead Logic down the south stairs as well. You don't see that many usually going all the way from that side, but they might be able to see some full-length shots here.
And that is 2 for Big Mike here. He has denied Pacifist entry into the north, and we're going to have to shift our attention to those 3 on the south. See what exactly they come up with.
Jamie is already moving into the subways, but he's got a little bit of a gauntlet himself to get through, because you do have Cap, who's sitting on the edge of the subway in a great position, going to be able to pick him up as he comes across if he's not spotted.
That's really it, though, right? If Cap goes down, Whale's pretty much the last one that's near objective. I don't know. There's some interesting opportunities for Pacifists here if they get the right kills.
Yeah, they're definitely very spread, especially when they know there's only 3 people left. This is when you kind of want to converge in and kind of make them run into you, because there's not a whole lot of risk. But being this far spread, 1 pick could be the difference. And just like that, Galbers is taken out, trying to hunt down BJ. BJ just waiting on him, heard the footsteps.
Wow, Cap misses Jamie, and Jamie misses Cap.
I think Jamie may have seen him there. Was that his shot?
He
okay,
missed,
I heard the
physically
shot
missed
out.
the shots. Cap didn't even see him, but they both missed in life.
Oh no, Cap doesn't even seem like he knows where those shots came from either.
He's real confused. He might... Oh, Jamie spotting the rotation. Goes down by Axis Mundi, and Axis doing some work here. It actually looks like a disconnect from DL. I hope that's a dead. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like we're down to 3 for Dead Logic? Or 2 for Dead Logic. They had 3, didn't they?
Correct. There were 3. Big Mike has rotated back, so now we're down to 2 on 3. This is the Pacifist time. Unfortunately, it does look like that DC may come into play here.
I'm just trying to think if that Dead Logic was dead already. They had 2 dead, right?
Yeah, they had 2. They had the one upstairs, and they had
that kill
Neo, who just went down.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did lose one on a DC. The worst possible case, but we play through it here in the Master
Big
League.
Mike has a completely abandoned objective. We have 2 people who are about to be pressing objective, and Big Mike is completely abandoned. He is way up top. He will not be able to get back in time if they press right now. Both players have tablets. No one has a grenade.
Ooh, Whale, though, getting the nade down. That could be bad news for Jamie if it got pin pulled. It doesn't look like it did.
And yeah.
Ooh.
And it's a trade. It's a trade. So he saves himself a little bit of time. Now both members of, the last member of both teams are still on the south side. BJ with his back. Big Mike may come out big here, but he's sprinting. He doesn't see him.
What is happening? He misses. BJ in the open, and Pacifists get the final kill and take the map 4-2.
What a turn right there. I thought for sure Mike was going to shoot him in the back, but he just ran straight through, seeing that all of his teammates were down on objective, probably doing the right thing, doing whatever it takes to get back and cover that objective. But man, that's unfortunate. He just missed him out of the side.
I hate to think about being Dead Logic. Having that disconnect is super unfortunate, but man, that's the FOV today played such a big effect. If you just seen him out of the corner of his eye, would have been an easy kill there, but it's not. And the Pacifists take map 3 and the series in a nice comeback fashion after losing pretty strongly onto Suburbia. And
absolutely. Coming back from a 4-1 initially and then losing 0-4 on map 2. It was really interesting seeing how they're going to come into map 3, and then the Pacifists, they just put it down with a 4-2 victory on the last one.
Whew. What a great bronze v silver series. A good turnout, a good start to the season for Pacifists, that's for sure. They definitely are coming into Season 8 looking better than they have last season, so those new acquisitions paying off. And you have any final thoughts on this series, Seth?
I mean, I just thought this was well played. If you've looked at a lot of the league matches so far in Week 1, there have been a lot of one-sided ones. Very few have actually been hard-fought, and this probably was one of the closest matches I've seen this week. So I was really happy to see this coming out. A lot of good plays from the lower ranked teams. I think it'll be interesting seeing how this progresses as the league goes on.
Absolutely. And with that, we will be signing off. Shout out to our sponsors, VR Cover and ProTube. Thank you guys for sponsoring the league as always. And if you're interested in joining the league, head on over to vrmasterleague.com/onward, where you can register for a team, join the reservists, where you can be a sub for the team, and find all your Twitch, Twitter, and Discord links so you can get involved in the community and all the fun memeing that goes on in there. That will be it from us here at the VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's, my co-caster SethBowdenGaming. We will see you later tonight with more Onward action, so don't miss out.
Have a good one, everyone.